Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. End of May. It's time to take a look at the pens I've been using this month. What we're going to do is take a look at them and then I'll give you my thoughts and I'll give them a ranking. So join me down on the mat. Let's jump in and see what I thought of all these Narwhal pens. So here we are down on the mat. What I'm going to do today is, normally I fetch out my pens individually going from 6 through to 1. Today, because with the pens, I've actually got 3 body styles. So I'm going to group them in the body styles. So I'll only be fetching out 3 pairs of pens rather than individually. So at position 5 and 6 this month, this goes to the Narwhal Key West. Now these are both nice pens. I like the sparkly nature of them. And with the Key West, these ones, let's take that off. As you can see, they're cartridge converters. They're the only 2 cartridge converters in this lineup at the moment. And they're nice. One of my issues with them, they're very small. Let's go and look at the purple one. Let's take that cap off. As you can see there, when it's unposted, it feels slightly on the small side. I can just about get away with it, but it's not comfortable. So what I have to do is post these, but even posted, there's a little bit of an issue because, as you saw, that comes off. I have to really press hard to get that to stay in place. So I'm just worried long term I might end up scratching this material. Posted is quite nice, it's usable, and it's how I tend to use these pens, which is rare for me because normally I don't like posting my pens. Let's take a look at the writing that we got with these. So the first one we're going to look at is the golden coloured one. This is Tomoe River. It's 52 GSM. It's in a notebook that I got from Gale and Leather. So here we are, the Key West with the Martian. I will be honest, I absolutely love the colour. I think this looks so nice. It's such a really, I want to say like an yellowy brown colour. It writes nicely. I do have issues though. I've had flow issues with it. And what I have to do is, after maybe the first 2 or 3 minutes of writing, I have to prime the feed again because it just stops. And I get the exact same issue in the purple one. So I think it's something to do with the model itself rather than my individual pen. But when it's writing, it's nice. You know, I'm calling out here as well. It's small and it's thin. When it writes, we get some nice flow. And not really that much in the way of line variation. Just going to turn the page and we'll look at the purpling that I started the month with. So at the start of the month I had Cult Pen's Little Pip in here. It didn't last very long. It ran out fairly quickly. So I changed that then, and we'll take a look at the second ink in a second. But this Little Pip, it's got a nice gold sheen to it. Hopefully we're capturing that on the camera. Again, had this issue where it would stop flowing. So what I did when this pen had finished, I stripped it down. I found that I couldn't pull the nib out, but I was able to unscrew it. I gave it a good clean. I even put it through my ultrasonic cleaner. And I filled it up again with another nice purple ink. Let me just get to the right page. Which was this one. This was Van Dieman's Twilight Mist. Now this is meant to be a shimmer ink. Can't see any on this page, and this is, as I said, this is the Tomoe River paper. I'm just going to fetch in another notebook. I do writing in this. This is just a Rhodia notepad. And this time, I want you to look here at the top line. Hopefully you can see there, we've got that shimmer coming through. And certainly in the top quote, and a little tiny bit in the second quote. But then that shimmer disappears. And I've noticed this all the time with this pen. If I want to get some shimmer, I have to prime the feed. Then I'll get, as we see here, maybe 1.5 to 2 sentences. Then it stops and just goes back to that flat purple colour. Here on the other page, you can actually see down near the bottom of this, this is where that ink was starting to flow really badly. And because of this, that's why I primed the feed. So a bit disappointed with that. As I say, I think it's to do with the pen model because I was getting it in both the purple and the yellow version. So I'm going to rank these, sticking with my 1 to 6 ranking. So position number 6, I'm actually going to give it here to the Key West with the Martian. Position number 5, that's going to go down to the Key West with Little Pip at the start of the month and then Twilight Mist. Again, not seeing any shimmer here on that Twilight Mist, which is a shame because I'm hoping to use this ink more and I want to make sure I'm seeing that shimmer. So we've got the middle 2 of my list sorted out. So what comes in the second group, which is positions 3 and 4? Well, that's going to go to the Schuylkills. Here we are, my 2 Schuylkills. Let's put that's better. They're in the right order now. So the first one, this is the Chromis Teal. So start of the month, I had Diamine O'Donnell. Nice ink in there. On the first writing session, it ran out, so I switched to Colorverse Dark Energy. And wow, I've fallen in love with this Dark Energy ink, I tell you. We'll take a look in a second. With the other Schuylkill, this is Porpita Navy, so this is the darker blue one here. That started the month with, I wrote down here Jowo medium. It wasn't, it was a Bock medium. It had Diamine Nightshade. When that Nightshade ran out, I actually swapped and I put in a broad Jowo nib from Goulet, and then I put in Colorverse Supernova. I really like Supernova. I'm just going to turn the page here. You can see here, nice bright blue ink, nice and wet. We can also see the Key West there. I did my normal swipe tests just to see what they were like. Let's take a look at the actual writing of these. We'll start here looking at the Schuylkill with Dark Energy. I love the colour of this ink. It's quite unusual. There's a load of shading in there. I think this looks so nice. And in this medium nib, it's really performing well. I think this must be a really generous medium because, you know, look at the line that I'm getting out there. Let's just move that down so we can see the bottom, so we see our scribbles. A little bit of line variation here. Could be, though, the amount of pressure I was putting on it. I like this. I like the Schuylkill model. I like the colour of the ink. So here's the O'Donnell that was in the Chromis Teal. I think colour-wise this is a good match. But to me, not a lot of interest there. It's a fairly flat-looking ink. All right, let's get now to the other one. This is something I'm trying that's different, having this paper here. Normally, I just use photos, but certainly with some of the sheening inks, I find the photos, you don't really see that. So that's why I'm going to give this a try, having this on camera. And I know you're seeing a lot of my other tests as well. So with the Nightshade, as I say, this was in the Porpita Navy. That's a nice match there. So this is like a bluey black ink. One of the things I was noticing, I'm calling out here, is I was getting some clicking. That's when the bottom nib was in there. I think that the nib wasn't a very good fit on the feed. I think that's why I was getting the clicking. Because after I swapped it and put that Jowo nib in there, I've not got that. But it's interesting. It's a nice ink. Again, a little bit of line variation coming through. And this was with that Bock medium. If we look now at that same pen body, so the same Porpita Navy, but with a broad nib in there and Colorverse Supernova. Wow, this is so nice. That broad nib, it's a black nib. It looks really nice. It fits really well. When I put this in, I did notice that there was a lot of writing issues. It was very scratchy, so I had to spend a little bit of time working on the nib. The nib tines were slightly misaligned and I did some smoothing, but after spending about 10 minutes, so it wasn't too long, it's now writing gloriously. If we look at this ink, it's a nice blue, and then hopefully the sheen should show through. We've got a nice red sheen to this. I like Supernova, but what I'm noticing, the more I use it, the less of the sheen that I see, certainly compared to some of my other inks. but it's a really nice, this is one of my favourite inks. I do use it quite often in a Pen BBS 487 with a medium nib. In there, it's just a perfect combo. Not sure if I'll use it in here again though. I was hoping to see more of that sheen, but it's just not coming through. Still nice to write with. I enjoy that. I'm going to keep this pen inked up. We're nearly out of ink in here. I don't know if you can see there. There's the ink window. Just open it up a little bit. So if I tip it slightly, there's maybe another, I might get another couple of days out of it, but that's nearly out now. And I don't have any more Supernova to try in here. So I might try a different blue ink. I may even try a brown ink, because if we look in the body, there's quite a lot of like coppery brown. I might try something like Diamine Ancient Copper in here. Let's take that out of the way. So taking all this into mind, what I've decided is at position number 4, we'll give it to the Schuylkill with the Narwhal nib. Position 3, I'm going to give that to the other Schuylkill, because once I got that writing with that broad goulet nib, oh, it's so beautiful. It's such a nice pen to write with. Really enjoyed it. So now reposition the paper. There we go. So by default, the winning group goes to the Narwhal Nautilus. So there's the first one. This is just a standard Nautilus model. And then I've also got the 2021 365 version, which is that Nautilus shape. The standard model, that's Ebonite, whereas the 365, that's Jonathan Brooks Primary Manipulation 3.5. I've got to be honest, this is one of the prettiest pens that I have. Now, I understand there must be a limitation with the material, because we've got an ink window, whereas we've got the portholes on the standard Nautilus. I've got to be honest, I do like the look of those portholes. They're not as practical. Yes, you can see through it, but sometimes I do struggle. So hopefully there, I don't know if that's going to come through. So that porthole is empty at the moment. Because again, both pens getting fairly low on ink. Let's take a look at the writing. So with the standard Nautilus, I started the month here with Pure Pens St. George's Cross. Beautiful red ink. It's lasted the entire month. Again, it's one, I think there might be 1 or 2 days worth of ink left in there. I like this. One of the things I have noticed with it, I have had some issues on Rhodia paper. So I would be writing and I'd get the occasional skip. So what I've been doing over the month is bit by bit I've been working on the nib. So just getting my micro mesh to it, just trying to smooth it out a bit. I checked the tines, there's no misalignment. It only happens on the Rhodia paper, so it only happens on the coated paper. You know, this, on this Tomoe River, no issues with it. So I think it's to do with the coating. And that Rhodia paper, it's the only coated paper I have, so I'm not worrying too much. But bit by bit, I'm just trying to tweak it as I'm going along. So double broad nib, really nice, generous line that we're getting here. I want to try some different inks in here. So I've got a red in at the moment. I'm thinking when that finishes, I might put another red into it, because a future video I've got coming up, I want to compare 2 red inks. But I'm also toying with putting maybe a brown ink in there. I like brown inks. And I'm wondering with this double broad nib, how a nice brown ink would look. The last one we'll look at then, let's jump forward. Just move this over. It's next to that gorgeous supernova colour. So the 365, I have in there Diamine Ancient Copper. Let me just see if I can pull that down enough so we can actually see it. There we go. Diamine Ancient Copper. I'm quite surprised how much I like this. It's a medium nib, and my preference recently has been for broad nibs. So I was a bit concerned when I was ordering this. I was late to the party, so they only had a medium nib left. But I'm actually quite surprised. It's quite nice. I've quite enjoyed this. I see some nice shading coming through. As I've said, the nib, it does feel a bit on the stiff side. Not unpleasantly so, but I noticed that it's stiff. One of the things I have found with this, is the line is much thinner than the other Narwhal medium nib, which surprised me because you'd have thought they'd be roughly the same. But I definitely noticed a difference between the two. This seems a little bit finer than the other nib. I've had that other one quite a while though. I've had it nearly a year now. So it could be that the nib's bedded in more. I've only had this pen, I want to say maybe 6 weeks. So that could be why. And as time goes on, as I write more with the pen, it might soften down a bit. I love this ink colour in here. You know, I've called that out. I've loved that I'm seeing some shading. Especially on the Rhodia paper, I see quite a load of shading on that. I see less so on here. It is a fairly wet combo. As you can see, I've got quite a few smudges from when I was writing on here. I'm pointing off the page. Let me move it down. There we go. As you see, there we go. There's some smudges. So that's something I need to bear in mind when I'm using this combo. I just want to really highlight. I'm going to turn this pen around there. This, wow, this is such a pretty pen. I really do. I know I've said it before. I think it's the prettiest pen I've got. It's so nice. You pay for that though. And one of the things that I've noticed with this month's is as you go up in price, the amount of enjoyment, the amount of quality I'm feeling in the pens does increase. So let's give these two a score. Well, I've got to go on looks here. So position number 2, I'm going to give it to the standard Nautilus. Position number 1, that goes to that 365 version. So let's pull this down a bit. The ink I've been using for my scores today, that's this Cult Pen's little pip. It's in a 1.5 stub. Let's see if we can see any sheen coming off that. Because this one should have a nice gold sheen to it. Seeing little bits. More might come over on the camera. One of the things I find when I'm recording, I don't see a lot of sheen myself because the lights are quite bright in here. But I usually find over the camera there's a lot more sheen coming through. But been really interesting month. One last look. Position number 6 went to the Key West in this goldy yellow colour. Position number 5 to the Key West in purple. Position 4 goes to the Schuylkill in Chromis Teal. Position 3 to the Schuylkill in Porpita Navy. Position number 2 goes to the Nautilus. And then the winner for this month, the Narwhal 2021 365 edition in that glorious Jonathan Brooks primary manipulation 3.5 material. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What are your thoughts on these Narwhal pens? Would you make the rankings any different? Please drop a comment down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button every time you like, every time you comment. It just helps with the YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.